Hi, my name is Michelle, and today we are going to be talking about how to write your statement of purpose for NYU's Master of Social Work program. So, like a lot of MSW programs, NYU's application process is quite holistic in nature. They are going to ask for a couple different things and use all of those to assess your application. So, the first thing you're going to do is complete the online application and pay the $60 application fee. They also require transcripts from every college and university that you attended where you earned 12 credits or more. At the time of application, you are going to be required to upload an unofficial copy of your transcripts. They also require 3 letters of recommendation. And all they say for that is that the recommendation letters need to come from supervisors and academic references who can speak to your abilities as a future social worker. So if you have experience in the social work field, it would probably make sense to get a reference from those supervisors. If you don't have experience and you are applying from a different field, then I would encourage you to still use that supervisor, but have your recommendee think about some of the transferable skills that apply to social work. I'm going to link a resource in the description for those of you who are applying from different fields and are using supervisors as references who are not from the social work field. As part of the application process, you will also have to submit your resume and then the statement of purpose. The statement of purpose is one of the most important parts of the application that shows the admissions committee your skills, insights, and potential for the social work field. And if you're not familiar with MSW Helper and the work that we do, we really believe that the SOP or the personal statement is such a crucial tool for showing the admissions committee why you are an amazing fit for the program. And even if you have concerns about different parts of your application, you can really leverage the statement of purpose to show admissions committees why you're an amazing fit for the program anyways. Like I said, most schools of social work are assessing your application holistically. So if you do have one area of your application that you are worried about, so for example, maybe you have a low GPA, you can use your personal statement to offset some of those pieces and really show them why you're an amazing fit. So in this video, we are going to focus on how to write your statement of purpose for NYU's MSW program and how you can position yourself as a strong candidate for the program. All right, so NYU's statement of purpose consists of 4 separate prompts. According to their instructions, the SOP must be double-spaced with 1-inch margins and a 12-point font. The total length of all the responses combined must not exceed a total of 6 pages. So now we're going to dive into each of the 4 prompts, and I'm going to give you some guidance on how you can go about answering the prompts. All right, so prompt 1. What are your reasons for seeking a professional education in social work at this time? What academic, work, volunteer, or personal experiences have influenced your decision to apply? And what are your expectations of being a professional social worker? So when schools ask this question, they are hoping to gain an understanding of your experiences and your motivations for pursuing a career in social work. When it comes to answering this prompt, it's important to not simply regurgitate your resume and instead reflect on why your experiences have motivated you to pursue an MSW degree. So one mistake that I'll often see in these types of questions is applicants will start listing what they did and what they accomplished, but schools aren't looking for that. That is what they can see in your resume. The personal statement is meant to go a little bit deeper, and you really want to focus on why some of those experiences have motivated you to pursue a Master of Social Work. So for example, maybe somebody who was working as a case manager in a women's shelter realized some of the barriers and challenges that her clients were facing. And so by pursuing a Master of Social Work, she hopes to make a difference by moving into the policy space. In this prompt, they do also mention that you could talk about personal experiences that have contributed to your desire to pursue social work. And this is something that comes up a lot is, I think for a lot of us, our personal hardships and experiences are a huge catalyst for why we want to become social workers. But we want to be really careful about, oversharing or trauma dumping in the personal statement. So again, I think it's really important to reflect on your why. And instead of just providing a lot of details about some of the hardships that you went through, really focus on why those hardships motivated you to pursue social work. What insights did you gain? What did you realize? What is the role of social work in addressing the issues that people are facing? How is your experience connected to the bigger picture? When you are drafting your response, make sure to reflect on your goals as a social worker. Social work is a broad field, so it's not simply enough to say that you want to help people. I always say, if you want to help people, why are you becoming a social worker and not a nurse or a teacher or a doctor or a lawyer? All of those professions help people. So instead, you want to get really specific about how an MSW will allow you to help others. So you might want to think about the type of social work that you're interested in, the populations that you want to work with, and really what the impact is that you want to have as a social worker. So here are some questions to ask yourself as you are answering this prompt. The first thing that I would do is brainstorm all of your experiences. Literally just list them all out so that you have it all on the table. Then think about some of the insights that you learned. So again, you're not going to focus on what you did. You're going to focus on why those experiences contributed to your desire to pursue social work. And then finally, you want to think about from those experiences, how is that connected to my goal as a social worker? In the description of this video, I'm going to link our personal statement template that will really help you work through these questions. All right, so prompt 2. The 6 core values of the social work profession are service, social justice, dignity and worth of the person, importance of human relationships, integrity, and competence. Please comment and/or provide examples of ways in which you have demonstrated some of these values in interactions with people of varying identities, groups, or communities. So NYU is asking this question because they want to gain an understanding of your critical thinking skills, your understanding of social work, ethics and values, and your decision-making capabilities. So to answer this prompt, you want to think about an ethical dilemma that you faced and how you addressed it. So here are some examples. An applicant who worked with a client suggested an intervention without considering the client's unique worldview or culture. This led to a diminished therapeutic rapport with the client, and they ended up seeking services elsewhere. An applicant worked with a client whose wishes went against what they thought was in their best interest. This created an ethical conflict for the applicant because they wanted to respect their client's right to self-determination, but they also didn't want to cause harm to the client. So in both of these examples, the applicant should critically analyze the situation and discuss how this experience will contribute to their practice as a social worker. So here are some questions to ask yourself as you answer this prompt. Did you face an ethical dilemma in this situation? If yes, how did you navigate it? Is there anything that you would have done differently? What did this experience teach you? And what did you learn about yourself in this situation? How will this experience influence your future social work practice? So even if you do not have experience in the social work field, you may have still experienced an ethical dilemma. For example, I recently worked with somebody who worked as a sales representative, and in their role, they faced a lot of pressure from corporate to meet certain sales targets. And this put them in the position of feeling like they had to sell things to people even though it wasn't the right fit for them. So even if you don't come from the social work background, think about things like, have you ever disagreed with how your employer or how a company was approaching something? Did you ever face a conflict between what you needed and what somebody else needed? Was there ever a time where you didn't know how to approach something? And this brings us to prompt 3. Identify a current example of injustice in the form of systemic discrimination, such as racism, that is of major concern to you. How have you previously addressed this form of discrimination in your past work, academic, and personal life experiences? And what are the possible ways that you could leverage an advanced degree in social work to respond to this academic injustice going forward? So the school is asking this question because social work is fundamentally about addressing inequality and advocating for marginalized communities. By asking about systemic injustice, the school gauges whether applicants are aware of and committed to addressing larger societal issues. And this is going to really show them that you are aligned with the profession and a social work degree is right for you. So when it comes to answering this prompt, it's important to critically reflect on your understanding of topics like discrimination and racism. So when it comes to answering this prompt, you want to think about things like your positionality, recognition of personal bias and privilege, understanding of power dynamics, and your ability to demonstrate humility and growth. I think it's really important in this question to highlight concrete examples. One mistake I often see people make is they will simply say, yep, I agree that racism and discrimination is a bad thing, and I won't do it as a social worker. But you want to go deeper than that. You want to show how you have grown and recognized your own bias and privileges and how you're going to bring that into your future social work career. So think about actual examples where maybe you realized that you were biased in some way and you had to really unlearn or unpack something and challenge yourself. And I think a lot of people hold themselves back in this question because they're worried that if they admit that they made a mistake in the past, that it's going to be a deal breaker for them becoming a social worker. But the truth is that by being aware, by acknowledging it, that shows that you are open to learning and you are committed to bettering yourself. In this prompt, you also want to clearly articulate how earning an MSW will equip you to address injustice on a larger scale. So consider tying it back to your area of interest and how the knowledge that you've gained and your commitment connects to your goals as a social worker. All right, and then finally, we have prompt 4. Describe a challenging or stressful interpersonal situation you encountered at an academic or professional setting. What steps or personal resources did you use to solve the problem? What did you learn from the situation? NYU is likely assessing several key qualities and competencies that are essential for success in both graduate school and the social work profession. So they're looking for things like emotional intelligence, self-awareness, conflict resolution, problem-solving skills, resilience, coping strategies, and alignment with social work values. So I think that there are a lot of ways that you could go about answering this question. But again, the biggest thing is providing concrete examples. You want to really reflect on a specific time where you were challenged and you had to grow in a situation. So when drafting a response to this question, you want to briefly describe the situation, taking care to provide context, but not getting lost in the details. Obviously, you only have a limited word count for all 4 prompts, so you probably don't want to spend a lot of time providing a ton of information. The more important part of this question is explaining how you handled the situation, why you made the decisions that you did, and whether you would have done anything differently, and how this experience will inform your social work practice. One mistake that I often see people make in this section is they avoid talking about what they would have done differently in the situation. Again, I think there's some worry about if I admit that I'm wrong, then it's a bad answer or I'm showing that I'm not a good fit for the program. Again, they're really looking for you to show growth because that is something that is so important as social workers. Don't shy away from connecting to that experience and thinking about, if I knew what I know now, would I have handled that differently? What did I learn from that experience? And how will I respond differently to future experiences that are similar to that as a social worker in the future? All right, so hopefully you found this overview helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about writing your statement of purpose for NYU's MSW program. And if you are applying, I encourage you to visit mswhelper.com, where we offer webinars, blogs, a free community, and personal statement editing services to help you submit those applications with confidence.